Yeehaw soldiers, it's your boy the Anime States coming to another video, and this is What If MHA and Yugioh GX Combine Part 1. Well, the debut Part 1 in this series is going to be very interesting, as I know a lot of you guys are very interested in the series based on Part 0, so let's get into this. Alright, time for half user checklist. If you haven't seen the last part, links that will be in the description. And all the way, let's get right into the story. Alright, so first off, I do want to be very clear that you do need to watch Part 0 in order to understand my thought process for this series. But in short, there will be GX events and MHA events in this What If, and there will be certain Yugioh rules here as well, you know, from the real card game, and we will include also Yugioh summon mechanics, which are Link, Pendulum, Exceed, Synchro, and Fusion. If you want to understand my reasoning, again, go watch Part 0, because again, you understand why I include all that, so yeah. Now, let's get into the actual story. In a world where Yu-Gi-Oh cards exist, everyone wants to call themselves the #1 duelist hero. Many kids each year will go to school in order to hone their craft as duelists, as they can become pro duelist heroes. These pro duelist heroes are tasked with two things. 1. Doing high stakes tournaments for prizes and other stuff. And 2. Take down criminals using those same dueling abilities. Duelist heroes are tasked with taking down crime throughout the city, which is why they're very much admired. Not only can they beat many criminals in duels, but can also use the power of their archetypes to finish the job in case beating them in a duel is not enough. Some, though, will just take lower routes, as there are archetypes that aren't strong enough for a duelist hero world, and because of that, those who don't have strong enough decks will just be policewomen/men and contribute to society that way by helping the duelist heroes fight crime. They can never contribute to big villain battles, but they are at least somewhat useful. The strongest hero of them all is Toshinari Yagi, or All Might. He is no question the strongest duelist hero of them all, and he is a duelist hero who keeps all society together. If anything were to happen to him, it is very likely society would collapse, as there would be a new hope for all the villains in the country of Japan to commit crimes and cause chaos because All Might is now gone. The villains scared of All Might would just resurface and cause chaos. But our story is not about this All Might fellow. Our story begins with a young kid named Zuko Midoriya and his hopes to become a duelist hero. Zuko Midoriya was a young kid who watched many of the duels and heroic acts All Might participated in/performed. He looked up to him. He was an idol. He was the best of the best. He was inspired by him to one day hope to be a duelist hero just like him, one that has exceptional skill and a great heart, and will give people a smile in return for those kind souls who duel him, encouraging them to become stronger, and punish the criminals who dare disturb the peace. Deku cannot wait to get his archetype when the time comes, as this is a great opportunity. His friend Katsuga Bakugo has a very powerful archetype. It is known as the Red Dragon/Resonator archetype, a synchro deck that primarily summons out Resonator cards and summons other theme monsters that summon out the powerful Red Dragon cards. Katsu's ace is known as the Red Dragon Archfiend. However, as he would grow older, his archetype would get stronger, and his new ace would become Scarlet Red Dragon Archfiend, which is a card that is a lot more powerful than Red Dragon Archfiend due to the lack of destruction effect at the end phase. Katsuga Bakugo is a bit arrogant though, as he believes that just because he has a powerful archetype means he can bully those who are less fortunate with their archetypes. This means that since Deku hasn't gotten his yet, he'll be bullied for just that, but hopefully, Deku will be able to cure that by getting his archetype, and he can potentially send up to Bakugo, and he won't be bullied by him anymore. Deku will be taken in by his mother to the doctor's office, and a test will begin. In a test for the archetypes, the doctor will use a machine that scans the archetype that matches Deku and produces star strategies and cards for those archetypes. And then, as Deku gets older, he will have new cards added until he reaches his full potential with the strategy, and then Deku will hopefully become a duelist hero. Who knows, maybe the #1 duelist hero. Deku will get the scan for a test and will see his archetype chosen. As long as he doesn't get the worst case scenario, it's a deck full of normal monsters, he'll be fine. To explain this further, 80% of the population has archetypes, while 20% of the population is cursed with the dreaded normal monsters. And not even the good decks that are based on normal monsters like Red Eyes, Blue Eyes, or the Dark Magician. We're talking about a deck full of nothing but normal monsters. Old normal monsters like a Totsumi Giant, Shape Snatch, and other weak monsters that seem like they belong in the trash. This is why many people join the police force and are even given their own decks because, it's basic police standard decks. They're more powerful and more useful than the standard normal decks, which again belong in the trash can. The decks themselves don't have many practical use, and the only thing you can really do is use summon monsters like First the Dragon, but that card could be taken advantage with a normal monster as the main strategy card, not a deck full of weak normal monsters. The only other cards they can summon are normal monsters in themselves like Gemini Pearl and Guy Knight the Force of Earth. However, normal users don't have access to monsters that can boost normal type decks, and cards like Heart of the Underdog can only get you so far. You could run a high trap count, but that only gets you so far as well, because there are cards like Harpy's Feather Duster, Heavy Storm, and other really powerful back row remover cards out there, so that's not great for normal users as well. This is why those with normal decks don't succeed, because they just get destroyed by every user of an actual archetype. Deku gets his results, and the result just shakes him to his core. He gets the absolute worst result, normal deck. At that point, Deku's dreams seem to be crashing down around him. The doctor then says, "I'm so sorry, but your son seems to have the normal deck. He can never become a hero duelist ever." The devastation in Deku's eyes is there as he's given his normal deck cards and is then sent on his way home. Later on, Deku looks at his cards and wonders what is he going to do. He thinks that there is no hope, as there's never been and never will be a normal deck hero duelist, as it is impossible. There are no powers to do hero work, and the deck just gets destroyed by literally anything else. Deku doesn't want to give up on his dreams. In fact, he wants to keep them alive, but it seems as if his dreams are collapsing in front of him. Deku would later go to his class, and everyone heard that he had a normal deck. Bakugo decides to bully Deku a lot more, and any friendship that both of them could have had is now down the drain. Bakugo has the strongest deck among his peers, and he uses that to his advantage. He uses his Red Dragon Archfiend and eventually Scarlet Dragon Archfiend against Deku a lot, and Deku has no counters to Bakugo's powerful deck, as again, he has a normal deck. He tries many times, but just cannot win against Bakugo. Deku hates losing, especially to Bakugo, and at that point, he wants to find just some hope that he can accomplish his dreams. Deku will continue watching All Might for support. All the tournaments he competes in, all the crimes he stops, just to give him any spark of hope that he can become a duelist hero, but just doesn't seem possible. Deku will one day be watching All Might like he always does, and his mom will walk into the room. Deku, with tears running down his face, says, "Mom, can I do that?" Inku Midoriya looks at Deku, almost ready to cry. Deku continues, "Can I become a duelist hero too?" Inku will then burst into tears and will say, "I'm so sorry, Izuku," as she runs up and hugs her child, for she knows that there's little to no hope for Izuku. Izuku in that moment did not need that. He needs some encouragement from the woman who is supposed to give him support, his mother. She should try to encourage him, allow him to reach for the stars, and give him the strength to carry on, and believe that maybe his dreams are not foolish. But in that moment, his fears were confirmed. His own mother didn't even believe in him, so why should he believe in himself? Izuku at that point does not know what to do. Later on, Deku is just looking at his cards, wondering why he was given these cards. Why was he cursed with this fate? However, Deku then remembers some big words from All Might that he, has always said after every heroic act, after every tournament. There is no such thing as pathetic cards. Believe in your deck, and you will go far. Deku looks at his ace monster, First of Dragons, and is determined to find success with this deck. He cannot give up here. Not now. Not ever. Alright, so I'm kind of combining the themes of both MHA and GX, and I guess all the other themes of Yugioh into this part of the story. Well, in the MHA world, being quirk was essentially, I guess, a death sentence for your hopes and dreams of becoming a hero. And in this world of MHA and GX being combined, it kind of is here as well. However, there is always a theme always repeated in the Yugioh anime, and, well, each Yugioh anime series and stuff like that, and that no car is pathetic. In fact, cars you wouldn't expect to be able to get our main protagonist and actual win in the show managed to do so. Here, that same mindset is kind of repeated here, and it would be repeated by the similar piece All Might, because it does make sense after all, because again, All Might is a guy who encourages people in society because he's a pillar and stuff like that, and he keeps society together and stuff like that, so of course he would say stuff like this. And well, there's some other stuff with All Might as well, but we'll get into that as the series continues. Anyways, a young Deku would try to use those words and further motivate himself to become a stronger duelist, and maybe one day he can become a duelist hero with a normal deck. Deku will look to hone his duelist abilities, despite all the times people will tell him he can't really accomplish his dreams, and he's able to become the best normal deck user among his peers of normal deck players, with more of some variant he has, created himself, but he definitely cannot compete against the ones with actual archetypes. Deku doesn't want to give up, however, he will take notes on everyone like he did in the MHA world. And by the way, if Deku was an actual duelist in Yugioh, anime and stuff like that, you know how dangerous he would be? He would write down everyone's strategies and probably figure out ways to counter those decks specifically, like make him a protagonist in the actual Yugioh universe, and he would seriously dominate. I'm very serious when I said it again, because Deku's pretty OP when it comes to taking down notes and stuff like that. And in a strategy game like Yugioh, he'd just be insane. Anyways, Deku will do exactly what I said he would do in the Yugioh universe, which is again take notes on everyone who has an archetype, including Bakugo, of course. And Deku will be able to familiarize himself with many strategies that are, in the, I guess, this new universe, I guess, which makes him a walking encyclopedia. However, this still does not make him, a successful duelist, because again, he has a normal deck. Deku's confidence is waning, but it's still there. He just needs to find somebody to get him on a path to becoming a very powerful duelist hero. He would not find a solution until the last day of middle school. Deku would just be sitting in his classroom, just jotting some notes, and everyone is hyped for the last day of middle school. Bakugo will probably proclaim that he will be the top duelist hero, and everyone else will just be a bunch of third-rate duelists with fourth-rate decks. Yeah, good meme there, I guess, Bakugo will declare that he will get into UA Duel Academy, which is the hardest duel academy to get into. Sees a combination of both worlds of GX and MHA. Well, yeah, there's going to be a combination of, the main, hero school, and of course Duel Academy in the GX verse. So, yeah, you kind of get where I'm going at here, right? Okay, good. Deku will also raise his hand when a teacher asks if he wants to go to the UA Duel Academy as well, which angers Bakugo a lot. Deku will then be confronted by Bakugo after class. Bakugo will say, "Don't you even think about going to UA because you will fail. If you think you can get in with that pathetic deck compared to all the actual real archetype decks out there, you're more delusional than I thought. Stay out." Deku will clench his fist, but knows he cannot do anything and will just walk home because, again, he cannot beat Bakugo. Deku will be walking home when all of a sudden he is cornered by this duelist who wants to duel him. He is run away from All Might and does not want to deal with this kid and wants to use his deck to knock him out and will get his duelist ready and Deku will be forced to fight this villain. Meanwhile, All Might is using some of his hero abilities to fly around to more exact the wings of Destiny Hero Plasma. He is looking for the villain with a worm deck, and then we'll see the villain he is, after doing with this kid. All Might seeing this wants to see how this duel goes, so he watches. But this kid kind of reminds him of, himself. Deku will use his polymerization to summon his first of dragons, and All Might will realize this kid is a normal deck user, which kind of brings him back to, before he, got his powers, which I'll explain a little bit later. But anyways, Deku seems like he has a determination like many normal deck users he's ever seen before. Again, reminding him of, himself. The villain on the opposite end will say, "Ha ha ha ha, a normal deck user? This should be easy." Deku will say, "Don't bet on it, I will beat you." The worm villain will say, "How can you hope to beat me? You have no archetype." And we all know that no normal deck will ever be an archetype deck. Deku will say, "Because all my life I have been an underdog, and I have been doubted. I have lost so many times I've lost count, but I will not give up on my dream to becoming a duelist hero, because there are no pathetic cards. If I believe in myself, I will succeed." All Might is amazed, as he seems, referring to the kid, he seems to have listened to him a lot. Deku will then set a couple of cards face down and will end his turn, and All Might knows he has to intervene because he is not want to be held responsible for not helping the kid out, especially since, it's in normal deck versus an archetype deck, so yes, he has to intervene. So when the villain says, "My move, I draw," All Might will say that it will be your last move, as All Might summons his mass heroes and will attack the worm villain, and then he'll defeat him and he'll be knocked out. Deku sees All Might and is so shocked because he was dueling in front of All Might. Deku will say, "Hi," in a bit of a nervous tone. All Might will smile and then will say, "You had some good moves there, kid, but I couldn't take the risk of you getting hurt." Deku will nod in understanding, and All Might will then say, "Could you tell me why you believe that there's no such thing as pathetic cards?" Deku will say, "Growing up, I always heard that from you, and I want to believe the normal deck cards I was given were pathetic, useless, every other word given to normal decks. I wanted to try and work something out and just find a way to make my dreams a reality. I wanted to try to make my normal deck into a powerhouse and match my peers. Maybe then I could accomplish my dream of becoming a duelist hero." All Might will just stand there thinking, as he definitely listened to everything Deku said and took his words to heart. While having a mentality like that is very unrealistic, having the ability to inspire yourself despite having a disadvantage is definitely worth commending. All Might wonders if he should give him that power. All Might decides to test Deku. He says, "How much are you willing to work towards your goal of becoming a duelist hero?" Deku will say, "To be honest, I always had this fear inside me I could never become a duelist hero. With every loss I took, I at times wondered if I could keep hope alive, and I have. If I could just be given one chance, I would do everything I can to become a duelist hero. Just one chance. And I would not waste it, and I would work hard to make sure I accomplish my goal of becoming a duelist hero." All Might smiles and says, "Well, how about I help you out with that?" Deku is just shocked, and All Might then tells him to go to another area that is a bit more private. All Might will then, in a flashlight, transform into a smaller version of himself, Small Might. Deku is shocked, and then All Might will explain that he has been given a certain power that allows him to be in the form most people are familiar with. However, he needs to find a successor because the power that he had been given is starting to diminish. And the only way to, alleviate this is to pass on power given to him. By the way, what is this power, you ask? Well, it has more, Egyptian origins, if you know what I'm saying. Yeah, hint, hint. Deku will ask why he is being told all this, and All Might will say that he is going to be the successor of this power. Deku asks for the name of this power, and All Might just calls it the power of the Pharaoh. Deku is confused, and All Might says he'll tell him the full story when he is ready for it. All Might says once he transfers this power to him, he will gain a unique archetype, an archetype never seen before, like All Might's heroes, and Deku will be very excited. All Might then will give a read on Deku's dual energy, something even Deku doesn't know about. And by the way, what is dual energy, you ask? It's kind of a measure of how powerful a duelist is, and an idea I got from the Yugioh real life series. Speaking of that series, go watch it because, it's really, really good. It's in Hungarian, but it has English subtitles, so again, go watch that. Anyways, Deku will have a bit of a measure from All Might in terms of dual energy, and to sum it all up, he needs some training to get more dual energy up because, he kind of needs a certain dual energy before he gets the transfer of, this power. But since Deku has been kind of trained to hone his dual skills and stuff like that, he kind of has a bit of an advantage here. So All Might will train Deku a bit to, get the dual energy up, and around 1 month later, where All Might, had to face the heroes of All Might, not in a duel, just summoning round where Deku summons his, ace monster, stuff like that fights, All Might's monsters, and All Might will give him the power of the Pharaoh after, he gets his dual energy all the way up to a certain threshold. Deku then has the flashlight go into him, and when everything is finished, Deku's deck glows and evolves into something new. And Deku will look at his new cards and is just shocked. This archetype he has is called Synchrons. You guys voted for Synchrons, and because of that, I gave all my heroes, and that's where we are here. So, yeah. And in a way, it kind of works very well with the story because, again, Bakugo has Red Dragon Archfiend and stuff like that, and, Deku has the deck that's known to counter it, so, yeah, I think it works. Deku will be very happy as he finally has an archetype, though he is going to need to learn all the strategies and stuff like that. Deku then hears a monster calling out to him, and Deku sees it is a card called Stardust Dragon. Deku can hear the feelings of Stardust Dragon, and Deku vows to be protector of society and to never stray into darkness. All Might says, I remember when I got the power of the Pharaoh. The card that called to me was Master Dark Law. It was a surreal experience, and I made the vow to be a protector of the world and to make sure it's not into straying into darkness. I believe you just experienced that. Deku's amazed, and all he can do at that point is smile, and then Deku then says to Stardust, I cannot wait to duel with you, Stardust Dragon. Deku over the next 9 months will train with this deck to become stronger and learn all the strategies to it. After 9 months are up, he will be ready to take the UA Duel Academy exam. How will that go? Find out in the next part. Thank you all for watching part 1 of What If MHA and Yugioh GX combined. I really hope you guys love this series, as I believe it's very unique, and also I never really narrated any full duels here because Deku didn't have his chosen archetype yet, and it would be kind of a waste to narrate a duel where Deku doesn't have his chosen archetype since the series is going to take a lot of work and stuff like that. But, he's going to have his first duel in the next part, and his first full narrated duel, and it's going to be during the UA Duel Academy exam, as in order to get in, he's got to win a duel, so yeah, get ready for that. And by the way, it's going to be for the character a lot of you guys are familiar with if you watch, GX, so yeah, get ready for that. Also, get ready for saying Naruto. It should be out very soon, like tomorrow, as I'm working on, that little part 5 video at the making of this video, so yeah, get ready for that. Watch me tab like a hawk, that is very important. Check out Beefy Hill, that really does help me out. And follow me on Twitter for no way to get notified of my videos, Instagram for memes, and some other fun stuff in between. And finally, join my Discord for access to supplementary content, notifications when I live stream ahead of time, and of course, the ability to suggest me ideas directly. These are great ways for you guys to interact with me, so follow me on Twitter and Instagram, and join my Discord server. Shout out to my $10 patrons, names are on screen, and my $50 patron Anguish. And if you want to support me further and get rewards to shoutouts like these, go to my Patreon, which is linked in the description. And again, make sure if you follow my Twitch, as I do stream over there as well. We're getting closer and closer to 21k, so let's get there, and that's all I have to say. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, turn notifications, and share the video. This has been your boy, the Anime Sage, signing out. Peace, YEEHAW. Cynthia Champion, close us out. Bye-bye. Peace.
Hi, this is Stephanie Shea, voice actress for Sailor Moon, Hinata, Orihime, and you are watching Anime Sage.